retreat is over. Just ended. I found this beautiful place to try and gather my thoughts here. Wow, what a crazy ending to this experience. So I did not get to smoke the Bufo, and I think I feel that's totally fine. I feel pretty good about just everything that happened today. It was an unbelievably beautiful experience. So pretty much I woke up, did the video, felt a little groggy, ate some food, and the Bufo began. And so there was some new people that showed up, and they were older this time. There was like a 65, 70-year-old man. He was the first one to do it, and he did it and just took the hit and laid back and just kind of just kept basking and just opening his chest and just expanding his energy and just letting this love just wash over him. And it was beautiful for him. And then there was another, like a Mexican woman who was maybe 40 or 45, and she did it, and she just laid back like a porcelain, beautiful porcelain corpse, and just wow, let it wash over her. And she, you know, it's so intense. It's such an intense feeling. So you get the Bufo Alvarius is like, it's almost what I've just thought. It's like mainlining love. So that love is just blasting through your body, through your heart, opening your heart, and then it opens your heart and your mind, and it just blasts through those blockages, and you experience all those blockages and whatever's holding you back. You experience it very deep. You go all the way into it, and it's painful and hard, and it feels like eternity, and then you just push through the other side. And then it really feels like eternity, and it's even more beautiful and profound that on the other side of this seemingly empty, desolate, dark place, you come to just this surrounding support group of people that just are strangers that love you, and these people. And so it's like these. It seems like you know, when people smoke DMT, they see entities, separate beings from other universes. But like on this Bufo, maybe you see that, but I couldn't remember it. But when I came back, it was those separate beings that were real people, and that was the most beautiful part. It was these real people right here in this beautiful, perfect world are just loving me right in front of me. And so everybody who smoke the Bufo, they have different experiences. It's so intense to watch people do it. It's like they're dying. You're literally like convulsed. Some people are convulsing. Some people are in peace. Some people are resisting it, and they're like kicking and screaming and flopping all over the place, like an exorcism of demons. You punching through this pain, and people are crying and screaming in euphoria, but it normally, after all that pain, pretty much everyone ends up saying just thank you so much, thank you, love, and that's all you can say is thank you. And so almost everybody, it's so. There was this one guy who, he was new. He showed up last night, and people said they recognized that he was going to have a difficult time. He inhaled it first, and he like caught it in his throat, and he was like afraid to inhale it. And so you could see there was fear in him, and he was afraid to totally inhale this stuff. And so the first time it didn't work, and he resisted it, and everyone sat with him and calmed him down. He took his shirt off, and he centered himself, and then he took this and laid back, and everyone was like, oh yeah, it worked. And he laid back, and it seemed good, and then all of a sudden he like rolled over and starts like puking, and it got super intense, and he was like resisting it and puking, like kind of convulsing, curling up in a ball, and then he started crying, and just crying and crying and crying, and then that crying turned into like a beautiful thank you crying, and then everybody around it was just so intense. But he still, like, it was beautiful, and it was intense and hard and painful, and he finally, like, I mean, it took like 15 minutes of this intense, everyone gathered around him like, we don't know what to do, and then we're here for you, but we don't know if we can touch you or what's going on. And he just like wrote out, he told me he wrote out just like very painful, every step of his like childhood was just negative. He's just, all he saw was the negative, bad, hard, painful things. And then you came to all these people hugging and loving you and supporting you. And so he left the tent, and when he went outside, he was like, oh, and you could hear him just scream like he was like reborn. And then that's when everyone gathered around and like started hugging him. Like there was like a group hug, like 8 people just hugging him at the same time. And then I came out and I gave him a really big hug. And then for a long time, you just feel your heart against theirs. And then finally a woman after me gave him a hug. And that's when he just broke down and started like really crying, like that he had made it through it and he was alive, and that these people were here for him. And everybody was crying. Like I don't know how to explain it, but once you do this, like you experience the beauty of the perfection of coming back here and having support and people love you. It's so intense, and you power through this difficult stuff, and then you come out the other side, and everyone's gathered around here for you. This is the most beautiful group of people I've ever got to be around. I'm so happy to have found this type of people in my life. It's like these are like my people healing. It's such a, we're all there to be healed and to help each other heal. And just the intensity when that guy broke down and cried, and everybody was crying. And this German woman who's just like super light, dready girl, she was weaving a dream catcher. She's like, oh, I shed a tear for him. He's like, now we're all connected in the DMT multicosm. And as she's just weaving this dream catcher, just like that's what like we all felt connected. We all went there, and it was so intense. And then to just help everybody else break down their barriers and to learn and come out a better person on the other side. It's all what we came there for, and it was like, wow, such a beautiful thing. So then a couple more people went, and there was some, I can't remember, just a normal experience. It wasn't too like intense. And then I was ready to go, and then there was one other guy who just stepped up, and he was like, he looked really ready, and go for it. So he did it, and he was a very centered looking person, and he took everything that he was doing, the motion, like he took, and he kept just screaming like, but it was all coming from a very perfect centered place. And then he just got stuck on this repeat, like he just could not stop screaming, like, and you could see it in his eyes, like he was like he wasn't there. Like I don't know if he was seeing what we were seeing or what, but he wasn't there, and he was like, and then he'd like lay back down, and then and he kept screaming, and then it turned into like, we finally thought it got better because he started saying thank you, and I love you, I love everyone, I love everyone, I love everyone, I love everyone. And then he got stuck in that loop, and he just kept saying, like, between loops of like, I love everyone, and just screaming, and Chico's so beautiful, so bonito, everything's so bonito, so beautiful. Oh, Chico, oh, I love everyone, and it was just so intense, over and over and over. And it got to the point where like he was in that paradise world, and like I guess what happened was like he refused to come back, and so he just kept repeating and repeating and repeating, and it looked like he was being reborn, and it looked like it must have felt so good to get all that energy out, like he was like just birthing himself. And then all of a sudden, like he just got stuck in this repeat loop, and it was just too much. And they asked me, okay, are you ready to smoke Bufo? Well, and I was like, I don't know if I can do this while he's like, you know, it's distracting. And I'm like, okay. And then he came back, he got even more intense. And I'm so glad I didn't do the Bufo, because everyone needed to be there for him. And so I would have been just alone. When I would have came back too, there might not have been anybody around, or to come back too and have people not paying attention would have been weird for me. And so everyone was there for him, and but he was not there. Nobody was home, and we're trying to get him back in his body, and he was flopping around. He just kept spitting. He was like spitting and like it was nuts. And so they finally got him to stand up and dragged him outside. Maybe the air would help. And he kept saying, "Oh, Benito's so beautiful. Everything's so beautiful. Thank you, thank." And but it would just repeat. And so it got to the point for like after 45 minutes, everybody else's experience, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15, maybe 20 minutes. His was like an hour, maybe more than an hour. And it got to the point where we were all gathered around him, and the shaman's wife was just spraying him with a hose. And she sprayed him for like 15 minutes, just spraying him while he was like, "Ah, thank you." And dude, he just refused to come to. And so the shaman had to sit on his back and hold him down and whisper beautiful things to him and trying to get him to come back. His wife spraying him with the hose. It was just a wild, intense, and everyone's gathered around like, oh my God. But we needed to keep our hearts like, you know, we're not scared. We're all here together, and you're gonna make it through in love. And man, it took so long. And so finally, like, you know, it was lunchtime. Now it was time for everyone to eat. And instead of me going, you know, I was like, dude, I gotta eat. And they're like, yeah, you know, everyone was drained. It was so draining. And he was like, I don't have it in me. He was like, I lost all my, like, I have a headache. I'm hungry. And I understood. It was like the most extreme thing ever. And to try and give your energy of love to him, and he gave it all. And so that's how it ended. And I feel good, like, because I mean, through the one guy, the black guy that was resisting, and like the crying, and we all had our group cry and become connected in the DMT multicosm universe. I just experienced it through him, like the love of everybody, and I was able to give it back to him, and I knew how he felt, and I was able to just comfort him and be there for him. And he said it was the most difficult, painful thing. He'll never do it again, but it's probably he said it was the best moment of his life, like the most important today was the most important day of his life. And I mean, so this retreat, I mean, it was like two nights, such intense experience, profound stuff. Yeah, this Bufo Alvarius is intense. To watch somebody else do it, it's very extreme. To be like, okay, I'm on deck, or I'm ready to do this. After, you know, it's easy when you see the next guy having this perfect symmetrical euphoria, thank you, and then you see somebody spaz out, and you're like, oh shit, like, I hope that's not me. But it's almost like, it's also like ego transcending, because whatever happens in that world, you really don't remember too much of it. And we all know that there's blockages, and so everyone's there to help you through it. And so like, you have to let go of whatever embarrassing thing you're gonna do, or maybe not, whatever embarrassing thing your body's gonna do, that your heart is closed off. Like, you gotta punch through that, and everyone's there for you. And then when you start thanking everyone, that's when it just, for everybody, it brings everybody together, and the hugs and the love. Oh my goodness, that was something else. So it was a beautiful, incredible experience. Christian, the guru, medicine man, shaman, he was what a beautiful soul, like just a servant to humanity. Like, he was just so like, he gave all his love to everybody in every moment, and his eyes, he was so present. And he would be hitting bowls of DMT, a changa, taking the last hit. If somebody didn't finish the Bufo, he'd clear it out. And so he was hitting this stuff and just totally there. Like, he never like zonked out or eyes rolled around. He was always with it on this stuff, and it was and just beating the drums and shaking maracas around and just easing the vibe for everybody. And man, what a beautiful guy. And his wife Rosa was unbelievable. I've never felt such warm love, all-encompassing love, like Mother Earth. Like, her love could like cradle the world, it felt like just so nurturing. And just being around her, and me coming to on my Bufo with her, she was, wow, what a beautiful, beautiful soul. And so lucky to have met these people. is just this group, this like support group. I mean, I don't even know if the ayahuasca was that important. I mean, it was, because it all pushed us into very difficult places, but it was like the group of people that we wanted to transform it. It was that group mentality that really was the most beautiful part about it. And I feel so connected and aligned with love and sharing and compassion. That was one of the goals that I set out. My intention last night was to open my heart and to feel and learn compassion. And I feel like I feel like that Bufo Alvarius at morning really set it off. It did help open my heart. And so now the key, it's, you know, with that group of people, it was it's easy now. You know, it was easy. But now to keep my heart open for other more difficult people, maybe like my girlfriend who I've been fighting with, Alexandra, and who there's built up tension and negative karma that I've built, to break that down and to keep this compassion going, and to keep that going through Valerie when she's kicking and screaming and being insane, and to keep just loving her. I felt glimpses on ayahuasca the first night of what Alexandra's total love for her baby and just that love represents, and it was pretty beautiful, and I respect it, and I was glad to be shown a woman's perspective of like a mother's love, just like the everything, like how you just changing diapers and the shit that you have to sift through just through love. And yeah, I can see she's a very loving woman, but man, we've had some differences. So to try and break the wall down between us and to just keep this love sharing with everybody in my life, it's gonna be a challenge. But wow, what a beautiful weekend. I feel really good. I don't feel cloudy or anything. So that vegan vegetarian diet is definitely helping on my I can understand this sense of clarity, and I've been able to come back to this world feeling pretty clear after such extreme psychedelics, smoking DMT, changa, doing rape, like a snuff of you snort this flower ash kind of thing, and it's like doing that, and the inhibitor, and an ayahuasca, and changa, and Bufo Alvarius. It's such a lot of psychedelic stuff, and I feel clear and not like I feel good. I feel refreshed. It's very impressive. And so I think a lot of it had to do with the diet and the people that I was with, the intention of myself, and maybe that I hit this point of knowing that I'd hit rock bottom for me, and that I knew that I needed to be reborn. So I was really willing to take whatever lesson was being shown to me and apply it. And I feel, you know, my goal was just to open my heart, and I feel like it's opening. I'm well on my way, and I'm very grateful for everyone I met, and for everyone being there, and everyone else. I've had visions. I've experienced the life of Jesus and my friends and my bosses and co-workers, and what makes their lives perfect and beautiful and seem dreamy to me, and how they've tapped through to the dream world and pulled it and manifested their dreams into reality. And I've experienced that, and I've experienced the consciousness rising to the level of an eagle and soaring across mountains, and then becoming a photographer and capturing that, and then the beauty of a photographer who's just living the dream of traveling and taking beautiful pictures, and just expressing that, and that's able to support him, and just hopefully I can align myself with that. That would be a beautiful dream. And so I've dreamt it, and now I just got to walk the path. And wow, I'm very grateful, very grateful. What a view, huh?